Welcome, YouTube family. Welcome to another edition of The Kevin Strong Show. And in this video, we're going to talk about how the average American is basically running out of money. They don't have enough money in their savings account that's liquid. I'm going to get into some articles that deal with basically how people view money, and it breaks it down based on an income group. I posted the article on my Facebook page, but I thought it would be a good idea to go a little bit more in depth and talk about this topic because it affects so many people in America, regardless of their income bracket. So, first of all, let's talk about some of the things that you may not be aware of. And these statistics do vary depending upon where you get your research from. But I'm here to tell you probably around 75 to close to 80% of most Americans are basically surviving paycheck to paycheck. Probably 50% of Americans do not have enough money in the bank to handle an unexpected emergency, such as $400 or $500 worth of car repairs. That would probably prompt them to have to put that unexpected expense on like a credit card, and then obviously paying that back at anywhere from 16 to almost 25 or 26%. We don't do a good job of investing. I've been a big advocate of that. Your paramount goal every year is to, at minimum, meet inflation. Ideally, you want to beat inflation, and every year that you're not doing so, your purchasing power is being eroded. Just because you see a certain dollar amount January of 2022, and at the end of this year, that certain dollar amount is still in your banking account, doesn't mean that that is still buying the same amount of goods and services. Inflation will eat away at your purchasing power, and inflation is a form of taxation. So, without further ado, let's get into this article. There's actually two that I want to share with you guys. Let's start off with this one here. And it basically talks about personal financing, other key findings. So this was a poll. It was very interesting, right? They did a poll on Americans and basically asked them how they felt about savings and what was important to them. And the number is alarming because what you're going to find out after this quick poll that I share with you is people's mindset is different depending upon how much money they make. Ergo, that's why some people don't hang around other people. And I'll let you draw your own conclusions from that. The mindset can be a horrible thing or it can be a good thing. Look at this first stat here. 79% of Americans that earn over $150,000 think a savings account is very important, right? So let's just round that up. Let's just call that 80%. Check out this next stat, okay? Only 54% of Americans with an income of $60,000 to $90,000 think that a savings account is, quote, very important. That is a significant drop off when you look at, let's just say 80% to 55%, right? That's like a 25% difference just based on the income bracket. So once again, it talks about people's mindset. Americans say $686 a month of disposable income, that's after taxes, makes them feel financially comfortable. $20 a day for easy math, maybe a little bit more than $20 a day because 20 times 30 is 60. But basically, this stuff here, this mindset here doesn't cut it anymore. It just really doesn't. The Dave Ramsey way of doing things used to work maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and they still work today in terms of getting yourself out of debt. But if you're trying to create some real financial security for yourself and your family, you have to think outside of the box. You're not going to work your way into financial freedom. Time is more important than money. And the sooner you learn how to use time to make money, that's how you get out of the rat race. There's just no other way about that. Here's some other points on this article. The average American starts thinking about retirement at age 40. Think about that. Not 25, not 30, age 40. I didn't do any statistics prior to this article about mortality rates, but I would assume that the average person doesn't live to be 80 years old. I think that's a pretty good guess. So most people don't start really thinking about retirement until they're well beyond half of their life expectancy. 76% of millennials spent a significant amount of their savings on large healthcare bills. 57% made a down payment or spent money on their mortgage, which drains their savings, which basically means the lion's share of their money after taxes is going to shelter, which is basically what a mortgage is, whether if you have a mortgage or rent. And everybody knows rent is just going up, skyrocketing. So after that, it doesn't allow you to save that much money. So once again, how do you beat inflation? How do you come up with creative ways to increase your income? The majority of things that people do when they're faced with a lack of income, say, I'm just going to go out and get another job. Oh, I'm just going to go out and get another job. I'm just going to go out and get a third job. And then you're tired and you're cranky. You're trading time for money. And that doesn't work in the long run. If that's a short-term plan and maybe get out of debt or take care of some things, but it's very difficult to say you're going to work 2 and 3 jobs for 10 years and then, have a significant bank account or create wealth that way. You're going to have to parlay that into something that's going to allow you to use your time more effectively. So let's get into this next one here about breaking down how much people are saving based on their age group. This is really alarming here. And let me go ahead and share my screen here and go up and pull this other one up because I've seen this and this is just something I was like, I got to talk about this. This is just crazy because sometimes people don't believe things until they see it. Okay, here we go. So let's get into this article here. Okay, so this is an article that I posted on Facebook that basically broke down what the average person or the average household has tucked away in their savings account. Now, these numbers do not include like your 401k or if you have a 457B plan, which is deferred compensation. That's tantamount to a 401k plan. But setting those type of investment programs aside, we're basically strictly looking at liquid assets, aka what do you got in your checking account or savings account, homies? Got to put a plural around there when you speak that way. Homies. So look at this, homies. Listen, look at this. 75 years old, right? Barely, they don't even have $16,000 in the bank at 75 years old. Who in the hell works 50, 60 years to end up with that? These numbers are appalling. And obviously, you don't expect these people, the younger group, under 35 to have that much, but these numbers really don't get any better as time goes on. And this is because we've been told for so long to get a job, save some money, wait till you're 65 years old, then you can reap the benefits of your labor, the fruits of your labor, only to basically start to have health issues. And you're going to probably have to downgrade your lifestyle because you're going to be living on less money than when you were working full time. Doesn't that seem like the cart is put before the horse? Doesn't that seem like it's a little backwards? But I digress. It's just people just need to wake up. Let's just start looking how this stuff is broken down based on the age bracket. So age is 34 and younger, right? Look at that. Single person, $1,300 in the bank, 2,800. Couples with children. So you got kids and you only got $3,600 in the bank. Couples with no children, $4,700. Once again, this is liquid in terms of checking or savings. Next bracket here is ages 35 to 44. It's kind of self-explanatory. Single with children, $2,400. See, that went up from 35, 50, not that much, maybe $1,000. That's horrible. Single with no children, $3,700. A couple with children, $10,000. A couple with no children, $5,300. That's the age bracket from 35 to 44. 45 to 54, $4,100 for a single, $5,700 with no kids. A couple with kids, roughly $15,500. And couples with no kids, only $11,000. And they're between the ages of 45 to 54. Let's break it down to this next group here. 55 to 64, singles with children, basically $7,000, $7,000. I had a moment. I went back in time. Singles with no children, $6,700. Couples with children, $17,000. Keep in mind here, look at this now. You're approaching 60. And you got kids. So obviously, the majority of these people are not equipped to send their kids for college. That's a whole nother video because I'm not an advocate of you paying for that. But the point being, these numbers are very, very alarming because there's just not enough. Couples with no children, 15,000. Okay, and here is 65 to 74. We'll call this a Social Security bracket. Singles, look at these numbers: 6,600. No children, 7,000. Couples with children, 13,000. Somebody must be taking some testosterone. If you're 65 years old and you still got kids in the house, yeah, God bless you, son. Move forward and prosper, Jasper. Anyway, couples with no children, $15,297. And last but not least, the old golden girl ages, right? Ages 75 and older, $7,000 at age 75 or older with no kids, with no children. Single with children. I'm sorry, single with children, 7,000. Single with no children, 10,000. And you can see these numbers. Couples with no children, only $16,000 in this age bracket. For many families, the amount of savings falls short. Some experts warn. This is an alarming problem. So what I think is going to happen, in my humble opinion, is that as the American population continues to get older, it's going to they're going to put more of a burden on the people who are in the system that are actively working full time, because guess what? Taxes are going to have to go up to support some of these people who spend their whole life working, but for whatever reason, maybe because of a lack of financial discipline or just blowing their money, didn't take the necessary steps to make sure they have enough money to outlive their money. And a lot of times this is not necessarily somebody's fault. Contrary to popular belief, and I'm just using this off the top of my head based on what I used to do, around 50 to 55% of bankruptcies in the United States are induced because of medical bills. Okay, so that's understandable if you have inadequate medical coverage, and as a result of that sends you into a tailspin. But getting back into the article, this is very alarming about people's mindset, right? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You don't hang around people who don't have the same value system as you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't hang around them. So if things aren't really going well, start in the mirror and then look to who you hang with. And the answer is probably somewhere in between. So I hope you found this video in a good place. You know my motto: please keep your credit score up and your debt down. I'm going to link this article in the description below. Please subscribe, comment, and share, because you know I care. This was the Kevin Strong Show. And in this show, we talked about how the average American is just simply running out of money. I hope you enjoy it. Please comment, and I'll see you in the next one.